today, and surprisingly, his answer was the other side of the ball.
Jordan Love, that was a huge thing to me, And I think he's in the top tier. So he can make all the throws. He doesn't give you chances to take the ball away, protects the football. He's mobile, smart, just competing against them. Accuracy, decision-making, his legs, he's hard to defend.
He's like, let me praise this guy a lot so then when he does better against my defense in practice and in training camp, I look really good. Lewis, some high praise, right? What kind of jump do you want to see, though, from Jordan Love and this offense this season?
Look, I just think Jordan needs to continue to ascend and stay on the track that he is on. And in particular, I think obviously in those crucial situations within games, 3rd down, 2-minute, end of half, end of game, that he makes great decisions. I think as far as the offense overall, this obviously is going to be connected to Jordan Love's ascension as well. They need to stay available. They need to hold up their end of the bargain. I think on the perimeter in particular, you need guys like Tucker Kraft to come back healthy. You need Christian Watson to come back healthy and stay available. You need Jaden Reed to stay available. You need Matthew Golden to stay available. That's a huge part of what can either hold back this football team and or allow it to really blossom as a team. And, for the quarterback play to really go ahead and kind of blossom into the kind of MVP caliber player that I think a lot of people believe Jordan Love can be. And I think the continuity, obviously, on the coaching side of the football with Matt LaFleur continuing to be the primary voice in his ear is critical. It's crucial. It'll be a major part as to why this young man continues to ascend like I think all of us expect him to.
Yeah, Lewis, you talked about the health being a big thing for this offense this year. I think the projection this team is having, or is making, I should say, in their second-year wide receiver, Matthew Golden's an important part of the calculation as well. You noted him and his presence. I would say this, Jordan Love is one of those guys that hasn't quite done it at the biggest stage yet. It feels like a quarterback who we're going to be talking about in a slightly different class in the not-too-distant future. It's a really good problem solver. Is Jordan Love the guy who's got the most fleet of foot? Is he going to break your ankles in the open field and rush for 1,000 yards in a season? No, but he's got this great functional mobility. He's extremely even-keeled, plays well when under duress, which is not a trait that a ton of quarterbacks have in the NFL. I know this team's season ended in disappointment last year. The NFC North was theirs for the taking, and then late in the season, they gave it up. The Bears seized it. The Bears beat them in the playoffs. The Packers, though, have the ingredients to be a legitimate playoff contender in the NFC this year. And Jordan Love, who himself battled some injuries last year, if he stays healthy, I don't think Lewis saying he has MVP caliber qualities to his game is that's not out there at all. That, to me, is certainly within the capabilities for Jordan Love.
Yeah, obviously he has MVP capabilities. I mean, what do we're not talking about Gardner Minshew here? We're talking about Jordan Love. There's a few things that I want to address here. On both sides of this equation. Before I jump into it, Green Bay Packers fans, please do not forget to subscribe and watch the full-length video. When you guys do that, views go through the roof, subscribers go through the roof, and it's not about chasing views, it's not about chasing subscribers, it's about being able to create the best possible Green Bay Packers content that I can. So, we can have real, grounded, unbiased conversations that people genuinely want to discuss and engage with. When you guys watch the video and subscribe at the same time, it just creates such an avalanche effect, and I'm trying so hard. I know I've been sharing this message a bunch recently. It's because I'm just trying to go all in and do as much as I can this spring and summer going into the season so we can just get after it, at the start of the season, because what we're building here is just so extraordinary, and I just want to keep doing it, man. I really just want to keep doing it. So, please do consider subscribing. But, yeah. Okay, there's a few things. One, the Packers didn't just give it up or the Bears didn't just seize it. The Packers got decimated with injuries on both sides of the ball. Okay. Let's tell the truth here. Let's be accurate about what we're saying. I mean, they even showed us the graphic here. Jaden Reed, 10 games. Christian Watson, 7 games. Matthew Golden, 3 games. Tucker Kraft, 9 games. Like, that matters tremendously. That matters massively. I love how everybody wants to be like, well, Patrick Mahomes struggled because Rashee Rice was suspended and Xavier Worthy was injured. But, it's like I don't hear any of that for Jordan Love. I don't hear any of that. And like I've showed you guys before, when Puka Nacua got injured with Matthew Stafford and he missed a bunch of games, specifically in 2024 when he actually missed a stretch of games, Matthew Stafford threw more interceptions than touchdowns, okay? That's Matthew Stafford who was already a decade plus into his career, okay? Way more experience than what Jordan Love had been dealing with. So, it's just, clear's throat, Jordan Love does deserve tremendous benefit of the doubt here. And yeah, does Jordan Love need to be better at times and continue to grow and evolve? Absolutely. But, I also think so does Matt LaFleur. I told you guys this like last year and the year before that it's just like this is 100% about Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love's combination together and watching them grow and develop. And I'm telling you right now, they 1000% did not lose to the Chicago Bears in the playoffs. Because of Jordan Love. Right? And I think actually Matt LaFleur deserves, some blame. I'd like to see Matt LaFleur evolve as a play caller, be a little bit more creative. Colin used to always say this about Kyle Shanahan, that he's too tight, too close to his play sheet, to his call sheet. Like he's stuck to it too much. And I think sometimes people get a little bit confused by like what that means, but it's just like it's more like kind of has this play kind of has this idea of like what he's looking to do and it's like you're just sticking to it rather than really kind of in the most general sense, like taking what the game's giving. We always talk about that players like, Jordan Love, take what the defense is giving you. And in a lot of ways, it's a similar way for a play caller. But sometimes like they have it in their mind, the game plan, the approach that they want to do, the play calls that they want to call, and they get too stuck to that. Too stuck to that. And that's separate from like the whole scripted plays that you're doing like, to start a half or whatever. Like, I'm not talking about that, but it's just like too specific of like, okay, 3rd and 3, this is the play that we're going to do because this is what we do on 3rd and 3, right? And it's just like I'd like to see him just be a little bit more open in that regard, right? Just have a little bit more of an openness there. And that's what I would like to see Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love be able to evolve. I would love to see, it's going to be a super corny example, but like play a little bit more jazz and a little bit more improv rather than just like strict scores, right? Strict orchestra, tight, everything is just on time and right there. It's just like I'd like to see things open up a little bit more in that regard. But, to be fair, when you do have all your pass catchers going in out of the lineups, it's a little tricky. It's definitely a little tricky. So, that's why I'm saying like we can give the benefit of the doubt there in both ways. I think it's okay to sometimes give the benefit of doubt, but still recognize and still acknowledge that improvement needs to happen. I'm sorry. I laugh at Gannon and saying that's why he chose because of Jordan Love. I'm just sorry. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Again, I love Jordan Love and think he's awesome and think he can be an MVP and all that type of stuff and just spent all this time defending him, but like he did not he chose it because the Packers have an awesome defense, awesome talent there. Hafley built an elite defense that ultimately then got him a head coaching job. And now you get to have a coordinator that got fired as a head coach, gets to take over a defense that has already done awesome things and that was great and has a lot of bodies to work with. And if you just don't mess that up, you get to have a potentially another opportunity as a head coach, right? Like, so, you won't be like, oh, I chose it because of Jordan Love. Nobody, you don't have that luck. You just got fired. You need to be able to show that you can build great defenses, that you can coach great defenses, that you can get after it, okay? It has nothing to do with Jordan Love, okay? Like, You weren't one of those guys that could just pick whatever you want, that you're just this prized, you know, whatever. Again, I actually think he's a pretty good defensive coach. You know, maybe not be the best head coach, but I think he's a good defensive coach. So, I think he can have a lot of success with Green Bay, but you know, I don't know if you're just trying to win some extra points with the quarterback-centric media or something, but I am sorry. I just don't believe that. They're he's looking over what job should he take and what direction should he go into, and he's just like Jordan Love. That's why I'm going there. It makes me laugh. I personally don't buy it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't buy it. But yeah, I think people forget how great this team was set up to be, both offensively and defensively. And then again, the injuries started to pile on. And I think was this team ever quite as great as people, 'cause people really got obsessed quickly, right? I forget who said it, but they were already talking about going undefeated or whatnot. And then they lost some ugly games, and regardless of the injuries, they were losing a couple games, or just had weird games in general, even if they ended up winning, where you're just this doesn't look right. This doesn't feel right. No matter what, no matter who's injured. And then that started to interact synergistically with the injuries, and then things just got twisted, and it becomes then hard to have to feel you can actually have an accurate perception of not only what this team was, but what this team could have achieved if things unfolded a little differently. I mean, I still believe in them even without the injuries, and I thought they were going to beat the Bears, and 'cause I kept pushing for the whole Bears-Packers. I was that's the matchup we want to see in the playoffs. That's the matchup we want to see. And I was ready to do an epic victory lap, 'cause everybody was oh, this team's not going to win. This team's not going to win. And they were set up to win. And in a lot of ways they blew it. Straight up. They blew the other game against the Bears during the regular season with Malik. Right? They blew it. Solidly. But I mean, again, we can say the injuries. We can say that. Yeah, do the injuries absolutely widen the margin of error? Undeniably, but they had those games won. They had those games won, but and then I called Fields out before. I was saying you can't just say that they gave it to them or that they relinquished it, 'cause I don't think that's a favorable conclusion. But I just said, both things can be right. We could say that the injuries and shrink, and it shrinks the margin of error, but also they made mistakes, etc., etc. So I always think it's important to look at everything from all the angles. But I know recently Colin has been talking about that he thinks the Detroit Lions are going to bounce back significantly, especially because of the schedule. And he thinks that the Chicago Bears are going to be in the NFC Championship game, and blah 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 blah, and it's just I do think people forget that if the Packers can just be healthy, they can actually stay healthy and stay consistent. They are an incredibly dangerous team. Incredibly dangerous team. But they never quite feel that way. And it is weird. You feel the danger of the Bears. You feel the danger of the Detroit Lions, especially back in the Ben Johnson days, but you still feel the danger of you feel the danger of the Rams. You feel the danger of the Seahawks. You feel and yet the Packers never quite tap into that feeling of danger. And it's interesting to me. Everyone says Matt LaFleur, he's a great coach. Oh, he's a great offensive mind, but they're not intimidated by his creativity or play calling. And a lot of people, myself included, think that Jordan Love's an awesome quarterback. Yet, again, it's not necessarily people aren't oh man, you're going to have to go against Jordan Love. Better bring it. Right? Oh, this is going to be this, the got to get to work going up against Jordan. It's not that. And it is interesting. It is interesting, and I think it's a combination between not really having the health and not at the very least having that dude, that playmaker, that really can unlock and maximize not only Matt LaFleur's play calling, but Jordan Love. Like a Christian McCaffrey is to Shanahan or something. Or like either a Puka or a Cooper Kupp, depending on the season, is with Sean McVay. Just have a again, you remove some of those players, McVay's a little stuck. Stafford's a little stuck. Shanahan's a little stuck, right? And that's why I always reference Andy. Andy's the only one that doesn't get stuck in that situation because he's the GOAT offensive coach. And so, and that's why they went on and got Matthew Golden. And I kept saying Tucker Kraft and then Tucker Kraft goes down. So, I made a previous video of the Packers talking about Golden Kraft. Golden Kraft, Golden Kraft. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. And I want to see that priority. I want to see that focus. I want to see that the intention there. I want to see that maximized. Right? And this team should start to feel dangerous. Yeah, it should feel dangerous. You should feel angst having to go up against a team like the Packers. And I don't think it does that like against some of these other teams, against these other coaches. And it is interesting because like it should be there now. It should be there. So, we'll see. But, those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love? Do you think Gannon picked the Packers because of Jordan Love? And, what do you think the Packers need to do to like actually truly become that dangerous team that I'm discussing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But, ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here. I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It's a REA. LLY nice help to visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.